Hi everyone, welcome back to another video, and as you can see from the title of this one, it's a get to know me video. I'm almost, or I think I'm about 350 subscribers, so I'm so happy about that, and I think it's a perfect time to kind of introduce myself to all my subscribers and yeah, just have you guys know a little bit about me. I ask persons to submit questions on Instagram, so I will be looking at my phone and reading some of those questions and answering them. I'm a little bit nervous about this video, but I have a glass of wine, it's a Friday night and I'm chilling at home, so yeah, let's get into these questions. But first, I'd like to say that my name is Shannon. I am a wife to Dwayne, a mother to an almost 2-year-old Bailey, and I'm also a lawyer living in Kingston, Jamaica. So that's pretty much like the introduction to who I am, a summary. So I will go into some of the questions. I will be looking at my phone because I'll be reading them from my phone. So let's start with the first question is, if you could give advice to your younger self, what would you tell her? My younger self, I think what I would tell her is not to worry. I remember when I was younger, I was always worried about my future. I would tell her not to worry, everything will work out, you're going to get everything that you want. Just relax and enjoy the process and continue working hard. And it's not even my younger self, I'm telling myself that now, to just relax. Everything that I want is coming, and anything that I don't get is not for me. So that would be the advice that I would give my younger self. The other question, is motherhood what you expected it to be? I wouldn't say I didn't have any big expectations when it comes on to becoming a mother. I knew the type of mother I wanted to be for my child, and I think so far I'm following through with that. But in terms of expectations, I didn't really have a lot of expectations, to be honest with you. But I'm really enjoying the journey, taking it a day at a time and taking it for what it is. It requires a lot of self-sacrifice, which I did expect. So yeah, it's been good. Let's ask another one. What products do you use in Bailey's hair? I use Cantu, like the shampoo and conditioner. I really like those, and also the moisturizer. And I started using this brand called Edge Entity, and I use that mainly for growth. They have really good growth products, and I'm seeing a lot of progress in her hair since we started using that. Well, those products, I use a moisturizer as well as the growth oil from the brand Edge Entity. The other question, can I pay you to shop for me? No, nobody can pay me, or nobody can get me to shop for them other than my husband and my daughter, because I hate shopping for people. Because for me, I just want the person to like what I like, and sometimes it's not that, it doesn't work out. So yeah, no. Other question, how do you keep romance alive in your marriage? That's a very interesting question. Maybe I should ask Dwayne if he thinks that the romance is still alive. But I know a lot of people would say, continue dating your partner. That's kind of like the cliche, typical responses that you'd get for this type of question. But what I would say in terms of for us is continue trying to get to know your partner and showing up for them in the way that they want you to show up. It's kind of like loving them in their love language, so to speak, because with the continue dating your partner thing, and everybody like for go dinner and go on dates and whatever. Some people want different things, they, you know what I mean. So I wouldn't necessarily give that advice. I would say get to know your partner and show up for them in those ways. But in terms of generally keeping the romance alive, you know, it's just a little things, connecting, finding things that you have in common. Especially like Dwayne and I, we try to find things that we have in common and we connect on those. Like now we are really into like podcasts, we like those, so we, you know, listen to them together and then we'll discuss it. Also in terms of the whole dating thing, for example, I like when things are aesthetically pleasing, and you know, I like set up a cute brunch or a cute little at-home dinner date and so on. I like that, right? But for him, he couldn't care less. For him, I believe his love language is acts of service. Him just want to know that he's being catered to. He really enjoys that. So that's, you know, one way where we can merge both things that we like, and you know, that helps to keep the romance alive. Let me drink some wine. So the next question, which I get a lot about balance, but this question is, how do you balance being a mom, a wife, a lawyer, and now a YouTuber? I'm not balancing. I don't know if maybe it's my Instagram feed or somewhere people get this perception that I'm balancing everything. What I do is I prioritize and I show up for whatever area that I am focusing on at the moment. For example, I'm at work, it's work. When I'm home, I try my very best, and for the most part, I don't take homework. I try to create that boundary and to be strict about it. I'm very clear with my clients and they understand. Even some of them will joke about it when they message me on the weekends or stuff like that. So I'm very clear with setting up boundaries. And I also, like, for me, there are certain pillars of my life that are very important. So I try to be present and show up in those ways. For example, friendship is very important to me, and I don't get to necessarily talk to my friends a lot between work and being a mom. So on my way home from work or to work, I'll be on the phone, you know, like in traffic or somewhere, and I make a phone call and I call my friend and we can have a conversation then. So just prioritizing. For example, with YouTube, I stay up at night editing. So it's not necessarily, I don't think I have a really good balance per se, but I try to show up in all areas of my life that are important to me. Come home from work, it's all about Bailey. After we put down Bailey to bed, it's about me and my husband, that type of thing. So yeah. I hope that answers the question. Let's see. How did you meet your hubby? That is literally the #1 question that I've gotten. I don't know why people find that so interesting, but I'll tell the story. Dwayne and my older brother, they grew up in the same community and they were friends. And I remember meeting when a group of us from the community, we went to this like fashion show. I was probably like in 5th form or something, like either 4th or 5th form. That was the very first time I knew of his existence. And we went to that fashion show, and it's not even a fashion show, it's a pageant. Yeah, pageant is different from a fashion show. A pageant. So the girls had to answer certain questions and so on. And I remember when we were coming back from the pageant, I was saying that, you know, I didn't like some of the answers, and you know, I would have said this and yada yada yada, and we started talking from that. We started having a conversation at that time. It was a bunch of us, so that's when I knew of his existence. And then we reconnected a few years later when my best guy friend in Jamaica, who was friends with Dwayne at the time, and this was like during MSN and BlackBerry days. My friend and I, we would always talk through MSN, and then one day just add Dwayne to the chat. And I literally thought that, like, I thought Dwayne was the funniest person ever. Like, everything he said was just hilarious. I just thought he was funny, and we just started talking from then. I think he was in Trinidad at the time, like finishing up school, and I was in the States going to school, and yeah, we just started talking from there. We became really good friends. And the funny thing is, he would say, at the time I was in a long distance relationship, and he would be like, "But I know how you do long distance relationship. I would never be in a long distance relationship. Them don't make no sense, yada yada yada." And when I broke up with that guy, he was like, because he was my best friend, it was like my shoulder to lean on. I'm always tell people, you know, be careful of those persons or shoulder to lean on, because it can turn into something else. But anyway, so yeah, so that's how Dwayne and I became an item, so to speak. So yeah, that's how we met, through a friend, a mutual friend. So the other question is, fave thing about your partner and being married. I would say my favorite thing about Dwayne is how he is with, not me, not how he treats me or how he is with me, but how he is with other persons. For example, his family members, his friends, just like ordinary people, how he shows up for them, and he would always go the extra mile for people. Like, he just really has a genuinely good heart and is a good person, and anybody who know him will tell you the same thing. Like, he shows up. I always say that he's genuinely like my better half, because sometimes when I want to certain things and whatever, and he'll be like, that's the least you can do, you know. Like, he's just that genuine type of person. That's my favorite thing about him. He shows up for those that he care about. My favorite thing about being married is having a partner that you can bounce ideas off of, you can do things with, just enjoy life and build and grow together. So that's my favorite thing about marriage, like having that companionship and that support system, like having someone there in your corner at all times, someone to call when you have your happiest moments to celebrate, someone to call when you're at your deepest, darkest, you know, loneliest moments. So that's my favorite part of, you know, being married, having, you know, having him there for me. And let's move on. The other question, it's again about Dwayne. How did you get your hubs to open up for your vlog? He seemed very reserved. Yes, he's very reserved. He's very reserved, and I don't even think that he really opened up. He's just present, and yeah, he will probably say one and two words, but yeah, he's generally a very reserved person. But he's just supportive. He supports anything I do. He encourages me. So I think it just comes natural. It's not that I get him to, you know, open up. Other question, how are you? Which is a good question. I am doing well. I'm in a good place. I feel good. I'm happy. I'm not doing too bad. Yeah, this other one is, how did you and your husband meet? Other question, just found you. What made you start YouTube? Actually, I have been on YouTube for years now. Like, those who know from like back in days, yeah, I've been on YouTube maybe like 15, like from 15 years ago. Like, I've always been into blogging and vlogging and sharing, you know, stuff. But of course I took like a long break and I stopped doing that. And no, I'm not gonna say what my old channel, although the videos are still up, I'm not gonna say what the name of the channel was. because looking back, those videos are embarrassing. Um, but yeah, it's not that I just started back YouTube. I've always been interested in sharing information. I'm the type of person where my friends are always calling on me for advice on a restaurant, what to wear for this, like every type of like list of things. I've always been the one that people call upon, and I'm always happy to share. I love to share any type of information, things that I find out, or you know, deals, like stuff like that. I've just naturally been that type of person. So I think coming back on YouTube, it was just natural for me, and it's a really good platform. Like I watch YouTube a lot. I engage, and I watch vlogs. Like one of my favorite things to do. So yeah, that's really why I came back. And also the beginning, and why this year, the beginning of this year was like really tough for me. I had a lot of anxiety in relation to work, and then I was just trying to figure out, you know, what I can do for me, like outside of being Bailey's mom, Dwayne's wife, and showing up in those areas. I just found that I was just in a routine of work, being a mom, being a wife, and you know, just trying to figure out what usually made me happy, or what was something that I did for me that I enjoy. And it was always blogging and vlogging and just sharing information and creating content and taking photos. Like I really genuinely enjoy it. So that was really the main reason why I started back this year. I'm just like, you know, I need to get something for me. I need to find back, like reclaim or get back to my hobbies. So that's why I really started back. The other question, yeah, these are the same. How do I balance home life and business? Oh, the other one, this one is from my cousin. She's like, when are you coming to Toronto? I need to organize the visa first, but hopefully it's on our list for next year. So hopefully we'll be there next year. Let's see. Okay, the next country you'd want to visit. The next country that I'd want to visit that I've never been to before, definitely Kenya. I would love to experience like a safari. I've always wanted to do that, so Kenya for sure. The next country that I want to visit that I have been to before is Turkey. Like I really want to go back to Istanbul. Like it's one of my favorite cities, and I really want to go back. And I think the next country that we will be visiting that we've never been before really is probably Canada. Probably I will end up with Canada for sure. This other question: what's the secret to balancing motherhood and career? Boundaries. Be clear with everybody about your boundaries. Be clear with your clients about your boundaries, right? How is the journey of motherhood? Do you feel like you've learned more about yourself? I think the journey of motherhood is wonderful. Like I love it. I love being a mom. I didn't think I would enjoy it like this much, and I really am enjoying it. But what I've learned about myself, I would say that I'm a lot more patient than I thought I was. And also I actually thought that I would be like the stricter parent, and Dwayne would be like the one that would spoil Bailey. But it's the opposite. I find myself being the one like, babe, just give her the thing, just leave her alone, make sure, you know, leave her alone, make sure do this, or you can give her that, or like I wouldn't say spoiling her, but I find myself being a lot softer than I thought I would be, because I don't consider myself really like a softie. But with her, yeah, so that kind of surprised me. So that's what I learned about myself. Let's see. Other question: if you were stuck on an island once what's one thing that you couldn't live without? The internet. I mean, outside of your basic essential water, food, and yada yada yada, I would say the internet. Like, I don't think I could survive without the internet. Alright, this other question. Do you plan on having more children? Yes, I will be having more children. I'm speaking it into being. No, I'm not pregnant. Let me just sip my wine. Yeah, but I am speaking it into being. Yes, we would love to have more children. How many? No, that's another story, but definitely, like, I want my son for sure. I will be having a son. Yes, I will be having a son. If you were not an attorney, what other career path would you have chosen? I think maybe content creating, marketing, content creating. I find that I really enjoy. I enjoy content creation, and finding the whole marketing thing very interesting. Marketing businesses using online content. 3. Besides Jamaica, which other country would you live? I would live in the US, specifically Florida, so that I could be close to my family and doing family, because right now neither of us have much family in Jamaica, so I would really want to be closer to my parents and doing parents. So yeah, Florida in the US. So this next question is, what are the key ingredients of a solid friendship? For me, it's being able to show up for each other, and I'm not talking about constantly calling each other, being on the phone and stuff like that, but when that person is in need, or that friend, they should be able to feel comfortable enough to come to you and for you to be there to offer support. Also, I think being trustworthy, because in your vulnerable times and so on, you'll be going to your friend with certain information, and you should feel comfortable enough that they're going to hold that information in confidence. So for me, those are the 2 main ingredients for me anyway, in terms of what I look for in a solid friendship. Okay, so this question is, what are some of the feedbacks you are getting from practicing soft life in Jamaica? I find that question very funny in terms of, okay, soft life in Jamaica, but I guess it's in relation to how I live my life. I think a lot of the comments in relation to it tend to come from persons who live abroad. Sometimes like family members who would have migrated, they're like, yeah, live your life in Jamaica, and see you live big life and whatever. It's like, no, I'm just trying to enjoy the country as much as I can. So that's generally some of the feedback that I get from foreigners. They're like, oh, when I come to Jamaica, I want to live like you, that type of thing. So I guess I could count that as feedback, but it's generally positive, and people admiring the fact that I go out and do things and enjoy the day-to-day, or find joy in the simple day-to-day aspects of Jamaica. So the last question, because I think the others are pretty much repetitive, but the last question is, what was schooling like for you in Hong Kong? So just to give some background, I studied in Hong Kong for 3 years. I got a full scholarship to go there, and I studied international studies with a minor in China business studies. And let me tell you, if you're looking for scholarships, don't just stick to the US and the UK, like spreading it wide. There are lots of opportunities abroad. So if you're young and you're in that age range where you're looking for university scholarship, I would say spread your net wide. But yeah, what schooling was like in Hong Kong, it taught me a lot about myself. because when I had applied and I got through and everything, like no one wanted me to go, like no family members. They must say, well, you take up yourself and go off the way, all the way across the world, you know, the family, you don't have nobody, where you go, don't go, yada yada yada. Like no one wanted me to go, and I knew what I wanted for myself. I knew the opportunities that could come from it and so on. So I was steadfast in going regardless of what anyone said. So that taught me about myself a lot, that I was courageous, I took chances. And I remember going and like being on the flight crying because I was scared, but I was still, you know, doing it. But the experience was really good, different, very interesting, because I was the only black international female student there at my school, and my school was like in the remote part of Hong Kong, so you don't have a lot of black people. So of course when you're walking or you're on the bus and so on, people are looking at you strangely. But for me, you kind of understand that they don't see a lot of foreigners see people like me, so it's mainly, you know, just curiosity. I also taught English part-time, so I was able to go into the homes of some of these Chinese families and Hong Kongers and, you know, teach your kids English, learn more about their culture and their family. And it was a really good eye-opening experience, even with my roommates. Like, my ton of stories, but that's for another time. Yeah, it was really good. It got lonely as well. Being away from family can become very lonely at times. When I also got a chance to travel a lot because of that, because being in Hong Kong, I was able to, because I was in Hong Kong, I was able to travel to a lot of different countries in Asia and so on. So yeah, it was a very good experience for me. I would do it again. But yeah, it was good. So those were, well, most of the questions that I got. The others were pretty much along the same lines in relation to things that I would have answered before. So that's it. So I want to say thank you so much for sending in those questions. I appreciate it a lot. I hope you guys were able to learn a little bit about me, this girl that you're watching walk around with our camera video live. Yeah. So thank you so much for subscribing and watching, and those of you who are commenting, I really appreciate it a lot. It's very encouraging. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much. Mwah. Bye.